satisfied. My weakness comes and goes. My weakness comes and goes. I'm reaching out for the easy high. Please fortify this strength of mine. My weakness comes and goes. My weakness comes and goes.
Hello everyone, my name is Nunu and today we are back with the fucking podcast. We are here with my boy Andreas. But not anyone else said Andreas because they didn't have time.
Yeah.
So it's just me and
Jack's
Andreas.
at football and Kevin's got a race.
Oh yes, okay. He's probably not streaming it because that's typical of him. Anyways, today.
Oh, yes, he's on comms.
Ooh. Today we are gonna be streaming at the fucking podcast. We're gonna be talking about the events and certain strangeness and insaneness of the British Grand Prix and what a fucking race we had. Jesus Christ. I feel like all the way through was just like interestingness. Mostly in the top 6, and we didn't see a lot of the midfield. I'm thinking we're just jumping straight into this from the start. We're jumping into qualifying though to start out with, because now we're doing this in chronological order, because we are very, very awesome. We're gonna be starting with a talk about the qualifying and what happened there. Which started with Gasly, Pierre Gasly. What happened with him? He suddenly has, like Red Bull said, he's now gone on to use Red Bull's, Verstappen's setup. And then it's like suddenly he actually has a little bit of pace. I think they said something about that it was like, he had made some very, very, last minute changes. So therefore they decided to only put him on Verstappen setups. Do you think that is why, or do you think he's just getting more comfortable in the car now?
I think he's just getting a little bit more comfortable in the car.
You don't think it has anything to do with Verstappen's setup?
No, not really.
Interesting, because last time around in Austria he got lapped by I saw like they talked about in the practice sessions that Gasly had made some very last minute setup changes before, which meant that they had gone blind into either the race or qualifying, which means they didn't know shit about the car, which was like that, but oh well. In qualifying we'd also had Bottas go on pole by 0.00 seconds in front of Lewis Hamilton on his home track. Opinion on that.
I just love what I saw when that happened, because I was seeing Hamilton coming around the final corner. They filmed up on the grandstands. There was a little girl with a British flag, clearly Hamilton fan, already celebrating when he crossed the line, and immediately realizing that he didn't beat Bottas and just being sincerely depressed. And it was just so hilarious looking at that little girl going from "Yes, Lewis" to
Yeah, I mean, I think if Bottas had managed to beat him on his home track, that would definitely be a confidence debuffer, if you can say it like that. You know, already in qualifying, beating him on his home track is like an insane thing, because, you know, it's almost like whenever Hamilton comes to Silverstone, he just has some kind of magical power. Anyways, we move on to a little bit longer down the grid. Renault versus McLaren versus Haas, but not Haas, because they were fucked up. You know, Renault McLaren, very, very close, doing very, very nicely at the top of the midfield. But we just want to talk about some Haas, because what fucking week it has been in Haas.
Yeah, has had an interesting week.
Oh, you don't say so.
Shall we start on Wednesday with that little interesting tweet from Rich Energy saying that we have terminated the contract with Haas due to poor performance?
Yeah, okay.
And even tagging Williams and saying that being behind them is unacceptable. I mean, that's just shooting shots everywhere.
I mean, yeah, that is in itself is unacceptable. So after that, they made an apology saying William Story, who I believe is the CEO of Haas, posted the tweet. And then after that, they went nuts again. So after they finished the British Grand Prix, or did not finish actually, they made a bus tweet with a guy drinking a beer inside of a bus with it saying "Rich Energy" in front, and then they also put out like some papers that they had fucking terminated the contract.
Yeah, because it started off being like something. They said that the CEO of Rich Energy had been fired, and he had been angry about that, so that's why he posted it. But then he went on to say that he wasn't been fired, and he is still the CEO of Rich Energy, and they have terminated the contract.
Yeah, I mean it's
So this is all confusing, and Gunther Steiner says that he can neither confirm nor deny anything about their relationship.
I mean, do you think that Rich Energy and Haas will last the end of the season?
No.
Do you think they will last the next race?
Maybe. Probably no.
I'm looking forward to where this is going to go. It's probably going to go downhill from here, though. Yeah, so that was about that. Can we also just talk about or mention Roman Grosjean spinning on his first run in the pit exit in free practice? Like,
I mean, to be fair on him, you are going full throttle with the pit limiter on, and just as you have to take it off, you're spinning, or you're turning.
I mean,
So
yeah.
taking it off on full throttle, suddenly going from a low amount of horsepower to just full on, just yeeting out of that pit lane with cold tires and everything, it is easy to spin.
But when is the last time someone spun at the pit exit of Silverstone? Exactly.
I don't know.
I don't know if anyone ever has done that. Probably a long time ago. Probably like 1950s, and someone died from spinning at the pit exit. Welcome to the stream, Jarvin.
They probably like tipped over and
Yeah.
landed on their head.
Landed on like 80 spectators and killed them. To all the viewers,
that's how the 50s were.
Yeah. Welcome to the stream, Jarvin. Remember, you can ask all the questions throughout all of this. We will also need some predictions from the viewers for our predictions championship that we have, which Andreas is leading at the moment. You can see Kevin is
Because
not leading it.
I'm a smart boy. I've got a time machine.
Yeah, and can see into the future. We move on again to talk about the race now. So, the race started quite interestingly with some Mercedes battling, which is almost back to 2016, just not as dirty. We had, or was it like lap 4, I believe? Hamilton went for the move down towards Brooklyn, Slowfield section thing. And then Bottas came back at it again through fucking cops, which that was probably one of the most interesting moments in terms of Mercedes and the front field this season until now. It generally was like that throughout all of the race with the front top 6 battling. But on Mercedes, do you think they're just over dominant on like now? Like they have pretty much won the championship. Do you think anyone else could be able to challenge anyone?
As an anti-Mercedes fan, I would like to say that I would have hoped for them to smash into each other in that fight, but I still kind of like Bottas, so it was fine. It was fine that he came out on top. And yes, Mercedes are way too dominant. They need to be removed from the sport, if not nerfed.
Oh, you don't say so. So, Bottas was leading a little bit comfortable, not like very comfortably, but like a little bit, but like at like I don't know what lap. Before he pitted in, right? And of course the way it goes.
Safety car's the only reason.
Yeah, the way that goes, safety car came out on lap number 20, which was the right time for Lewis Hamilton to pit in. So he of course pitted in, got a free pit stop, and got that. Which what do you think would have happened if the safety car didn't come out?
I think Bottas would have retaken the lead.
Do you think he would have gone on to win the race?
I don't know, because I mean, Hamilton, if I remember correctly, did he do a one-stop?
Yes.
Yeah, Bottas did a two-stop, I'm pretty sure. So.
Yeah, okay, that's true. So that would have been an interesting one.
If they pitted Bottas onto hards for his pit stop instead of mediums, then maybe.
Just maybe. Then, after the safety car, we had the two Mercedes pull out a gap of over 20 seconds, allowing Bottas to pit in for a second time without losing any positions. this was for one, down to the car being good, I guess, around here. And for the second, the 4 other people were battling quite hard, so
Yeah.
they managed
Ferrari
to...
and Red Bull were having great fights.
Mm.
Leclerc Verstappen, that was a good fight.
And it was all the way through as well. And, like, a lot of people have been saying that this is the future in F1. And if that is, I'm really looking forward to that. We have Hamilton also. Like, whether you like him or not, I personally think he's a little bit too arrogant, but at this point we can't say that he's not gonna be a legend, because on the fucking final lap, with worn tyres, he managed to take home the fastest lap.
That's the thing. Like, I was watching it with a Hamilton fan, which is not fun, just so you know. But yeah, on the final lap, I was like, okay, you get it, Hamilton's gonna win, but Bottas has fastest lap. Hey, and then Hamilton sets fastest lap.
Yeah, like...
And I was annoyed.
Oh, you didn't say so. I mean, that's pretty much beating, what do you call it, beating a dead warrior or something. Like, Bottas was already, like, long way behind, and then Hamilton stealing the fastest lap on
It's
way more worn tyres.
Salt in the wound.
Yeah, you don't fucking say so. Then we move on from the top, or we talk about Red Bull and Ferrari later, don't worry. We move on to the midfield, and McLaren. What has somehow magically happened there? Last season, Fernando Alonso left McLaren. They were comfortably last, or within the top 5 in the bottom, and now he's left, and now they're suddenly best of the rest by quite a bit. So, do you think that this is because Alonso has left, and that allows the team to just work a bit more? Do you think they're just generally getting their shit together now?
The thing is, like, Alonso not being a driver anymore has definitely helped, but he is still kind of working for McLaren. So I think the day that he will, like, 100% leave, that is the day we will get the next McLaren 1-2.
But it's all just gone uphill. Alonso might be kicking his own ass at the moment. Or if he would have stayed, who knows what would have happened. But it's interesting.
Wouldn't have been as fast.
Yeah, so
it seems like wherever Alonso goes, he's just the new team principal. He's just the boss of the team.
I think that's the thing. Like, he might be a little bit too overrated within teams. He's a good driver. There's no doubt about that.
But he thinks that he's an even better driver than he is, and that's the problem.
I think he's the best in the world. I mean, I do hope he win this triple crown, but prove something.
Well, to do that, he'll first need to qualify the Indy 500.
Okay, true. Yeah. Then we have to talk about. Last year it was kind of a Renault versus Haas situation. This year Haas is 9th at the moment. Is it more of a Renault versus McLaren?
This season, yeah, definitely. But hopefully, next season, Haas will do something else.
I really hope so. Like, they went back to the Australia preset for Grosjean, which was interesting, no doubt, but...
Yeah, we didn't really see what that could do. Qualifying, and in the race, we all saw how...
I mean, he was fast in qualifying, like...
He was faster, but then again, it's Grosjean, and who's been the better of the two cars throughout the whole season qualifying? I'm pretty sure in this season Magnussen's out-qualified Grosjean more than Grosjean's out-qualified Magnussen. So maybe if it was the other way around, we would have seen a better result. But we don't know.
But
maybe they can try and switch around for next race.
Yeah, and figure that out, because they really have some problems they need to get done. Anyways, back to McLaren. Until now, we have slowly found out that Norris and Sainz have a kind of good relationship, right? We've had Norris. I think he has a good relationship with everyone because he's fucking meme lord.
I mean, it is Lando.
Yeah, true. And I mean, it's nice.
The Lord.
It's nice to have kind of those driver pairs like Verstappen, Ricciardo. Some years ago now, Ricciardo and Ricciardo's always nice. It's nice to have happiness in terms of drivers on grid. Also, we'll talk about that later on. Then we move on. One of the big talking points of this race, Red Bull versus Ferrari. We have first of all
Yes.
Leclerc versus Verstappen. Do you think this will be the future of F1?
Probably.
I really hope so. Because like that
Yeah.
every single race. That move from Charles Leclerc in lap 36, man. Around the outside of turn 3, that was such a smooth little baby move. I really like that. Like,
Yeah.
it's not often that we get to see this great battling in this sport. And if I gotta be honest, it's probably been the best F1 race over years. I personally think it was better than Austria. What do you think?
Yep. Same.
Mm.
Except for the result. 'Cause, you know,
Sorry.
in Austria, it wasn't a Mercedes win. So
But
I
like,
will be very happy with that.
in
But
Austria,
the race itself feels good.
yeah, in Austria, it was also Verstappen. I mean, in my opinion,
Yeah.
I don't care who wins. If we get some great racing, I really don't care who wins. It's gonna be interesting, unless it's like the season finale or something. Then we move on to the big buffer in the race, you could say. Vettel versus Verstappen on lap 37 in sector 3. Verstappen went for the outside move into Stowe, I believe the corner is called, but I'm not too good at that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Went for the outside, got past him. Vettel was in behind him and, to say it roughly, punted Verstappen off track and over the curb and into the gravel trap. And surprisingly enough, Verstappen was able to drive on, and
Yeah.
Vettel fell back. I believe he went in for a front wing change.
Yeah. When me and my friend, I was watching it. When we saw Vettel pull into the pits, we didn't see that they had any tires ready or anything. So we were just like, oh yeah, okay, he's retiring. But then they put new tires on and released him, and he's came back out.
Yeah, didn't, but
Which
he
was
came in
kinda
for a new
pointless.
front wing, and he got a 10-second time penalty. This one was interesting because we had a little bit. Yeah, he got, but
Oh
like
my
that matters when he's second last, anyways. We had a little bit of a talk about this one, and now it's time to really talk it out. What do you think of this incident?
Well, you already know what I think, but the viewers don't. So let's explain. Racing incident, because as you can see, Vettel tries to go on the inside. Verstappen covers up that line. Vettel has nowhere to go. Verstappen brakes earlier than Vettel expects. Vettel locks up, has no control of where the car's going, and ends up in the ass of Verstappen. Therefore, not Vettel's fault.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting look because it's not Verstappen's fault either. So I'm like a 60-40% incident because Vettel is the one who's behind. You typically say that the one behind is the one who has the most control.
Exactly.
I believe that
But when you lock up, that's the problem.
I believe that you could see Verstappen. He moved a little bit to the inside. I know we'll have very, very much hate on these opinions, but luckily we think the same thing this time, Andreas. That's not normal.
Yeah.
But Vettel was trying to go for the move on the inside, which there was never a move that he could stick. Like there was never a chance he could stick that up the inside, anyways. But then Verstappen moved a little bit.
Time to move.
Yeah, and he didn't. Vettel, you could see he turned the wheel a little bit, tried to go for the outside, but he just didn't have enough
that
time.
wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, because there was enough
then-
time. Because suddenly a corner came up, and then he was in the dirtier and locked up, and then kind of similar to Azerbaijan. It's getting compared to Azerbaijan last year, which I think in some ways that could be comparable. Hey, welcome to the stream, Thomas. Remember, viewers, come with some predictions for Germany. Come with questions if you want us to answer anything, and we will talk about them. Oh yeah, we just talked about this incident. Do you think it deserved a 10-second time penalty?
No.
Simple and short. Nice and simple and short.
Yeah.
Then we
The thing is, like, he locks up, so he can't really go anywhere.
Like, I think it was still Vettel's fault, but it was an uncontrolled fault. It was like, yeah, as I said, 60-40% in my opinion. 60% Vettel and 40% Verstappen.
But I would compare it to Hulkenberg last year at Spa. The whole turn 1 thing, because that was because Hulkenberg locked up.
I mean, I guess you could mix them together because, the moving under braking and the locking up. So if you mix those two together, this is what we got. But then we saw a lot of great battling throughout this race. Of course, we have bigger DRS rings this year than last year, but also the front wings are changed. Do you think that helps at all, or do you think it's just Silverstone? Because we have heard some drivers complaining about it not really working. So, opinion. Give us your opinion.
Well, I mean, I actually didn't know about the DRS thing.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and to be honest, I didn't hear the rest of what you said.
The front wings, right?
Oh yeah,
They've been changed for this season to make wider, to make for better racing.
exactly.
But do you think that has changed at all, or do you think it's just the same?
I mean, I think making the cars wider is a mistake, because that's exactly what causes the cars to not be able to race. The wider they get, the more tracks where there isn't enough room to race. Luckily, Silverstone's a really wide track, so there's plenty of room for them to overtake.
Yeah, and it's
So
also like a generally good
on the
track.
track where they've made it thinner.
Yeah, I mean it's also generally good track for overtaking because like you can actually. I mean it's not like you can follow closely behind because it is like a relatively quick track, but like just the way the layout is made in terms of the corners, like there was some points through turn 1. You saw really nice on board of the Red Bull going right behind the Ferrari. I think it was Verstappen versus Leclerc. Where Verstappen was very, very close. Like, he was right up his ass almost, which I don't know if we would have seen that in 2018. But I don't think there's that much difference there. Like, you have I heard Grosjean, which, I mean, that's Grosjean. He complained a bit about it, so, like, you know. Then we have Thomas Hill's opinion on the Vettel incident. He says, I think Vettel shouldn't have been given a time penalty, as it didn't make a difference to his finishing position. I personally think he just be giving a grid penalty for Hockenheim. He basically did what Hulkenberg did at Spa, and Hulkenberg got a 10 place grid penalty, not a time penalty. That is correct.
But the thing is, like, the Hulkenberg thing, it's the exact same thing, but the consequences are different. Because, you know, this just caused Verstappen and Vettel's results to be a little worse than they were initially going to be. But in Spa, if it wasn't for the halo, we could have seen a death. So I think that's also counting on.
I don't think we could have.
Happens.
You know, yeah, I mean that was actually.
I mean, Leclerc would have had Alonso in the face, so.
Yeah, that's
probably.
True. But you know, the 10-second time penalty didn't really affect him because he dropped quite a long way back, anyways. So, oh well, that's how it is. Then we move on to our 3-word race review.
I have a really good one.
Nice, come with it.
Fuck off, Lewis.
Explain.
He's annoying. He wins everything, and of course, it's the best fans. Of course.
Oh yeah, that's
It
no
always
surprise.
Whenever he does good, best fans. Hashtag blessed.
That's like an accurate representation of it.
That's
I have gone with I have not one that's really like, you know, not about the another one has gone with one that's about the Vettel Verstappen. I've gone with Gasly found pace ? Which, you know, has Gasly found his pace?
I mean, he got 2 positions by 2 people crashing.
Yeah, but like, you know, if just he could get up to 6th place for now, like, you know, that's fine because he's been battling with the midfield for the last couple of rounds. He only has 55 points. Let me just find out yeah, he has 55 points compared to his teammates 136. So, in my opinion, if just he can get up to like, at least for now, before the summer break, get up to like 6th place and deliver that in Germany or Hungary, I think it'd be good, and then he can work on improving further from there. But now it looks like he's comfortable in the car, which I think is good. Then we have a question from Thomas Hill before we move on to talk about Germany. He says, what do you think of Vettel's future? Charles had 4 podiums in a row. In Canada, Vettel made a race-winning mistake. France, poor quali, and Austria, no pace, and UK, he takes out Max. So what do you think of his future?
I mean, Ferrari love him, so he's probably going to stick around there for a while. But if he keeps doing this, their love for him will probably go down a little bit, and then suddenly we might see him without a seat of Ferrari, maybe
Yeah.
even without a seat in all of F1.
K-Mag to Ferrari, fuck yes.
Yes!
That'd be nice, especially because we're Danish.
The F1 community will not be happy. There are a lot of K-Mag haters
But
out
I
there.
mean, we will be happy because we're Danish.
Yeah, you can rub it in the face of all those haters.
I mean, I think like I saw some tweets talking about him like since the hybrid era came in. Like I saw some tweets talking about that. That's when he got worse. I personally don't think that's the thing because of a new era, a new engine thing comes in. That doesn't mean like. I mean, he could.
Well, I mean, he won 4 championships in a row, and then it changed to hybrid, and then he was just kind of, eh.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think that was still because of like the cars. You pretty much can't win a championship without a champion, like the best car on the grid. That'd be very very insane if you did that. But like he's beating Kimi as well. Kimi's a good driver, but he's Kimi, and because of team orders. But
Yeah.
I like drivers can have ups and downs, which is fine, but it's a year ago now that the mistakes started, and I think it's beginning to become too much. I don't know if he's just like frustrated. Maybe he's reached his peak and is now beginning to sink down. And I just, on the other hand, Kimi Räikkönen was still the last Ferrari winner, which is nice to think about.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think if he continues doing this, his seat might be at risk at Ferrari, especially. But I don't know about his seat in F1. He's a very good driver. I think a lot of people would like to have him.
Yeah, I mean, just theoretically speaking, if they put K-Mag in that Ferrari, then that'll be a perfect fit for Sebastian to go to Haas.
We're really dream thinking at the moment. We had Thomas Hill coming in with a 3-word race review. Very simple, but he said, "What a race," which I can agree on that. Now it's time, viewers, to get in your predictions for the German Grand Prix. If you want any points in our prediction standings, we don't have any quiz today because there's only one competitor, and it would be kind of unfair if he's just one. The podcast will be a bit shorter today, but because it was a very interesting race, but all that jazz. We'll start with my predictions because they're probably a bit more boring than yours. I have said one or more Red Bull will be on the podium. That's just a guess. And then I've said double McLaren's point finish, which is kind of likely now. And then I've said Gasly will finish 5th or higher, which I decided to, because I would really like to see Gasly actually find some pace. That would be very, very nice. And that's my.
Will you be happy if he finishes in the top 5, but not because he's fast, but because other people like crash?
What?
Would that still make you happy to see if he was in the top 5, not because of pace, but because of other people's mistakes?
I mean, if he just gets in top 5, I mean, that's good. Like, even him being 6th would be good, because he's been battling in the midfield, but, if he just manages to improve, I'd be happy. Whether it's because of pace or mistakes. But now, your 3 predictions for the German Grand Prix.
Oh, yes. Vettel makes a mistake in the race.
Explain. Because
remember last year?
I mean, yeah, but a mistake could be like a little snatch, a little twitch, which I mean, that like every driver probably makes a mistake like that. So then it would be very, very likely.
Like an act, like a real.
So like
mistake.
Go off into the gravel trap, or crash out of the race.
Not necessarily do that, but just a race deciding mistake. So like, for example, let's just say he's 3rd and then he makes a mistake and yeets off the podium.
Oh yeah, okay, I see what you mean. Something that affects his race quite a bit.
It could also be something that affects his position.
Yeah, okay, nice. Then your next one. Your next prediction, Andreas.
Yes. I have said Gasly beats Verstappen. Because I won a lot of points and I think it's unlikely, so.
You won a lot of points.
Yeah, I want to have the biggest lead in history of podcasts, which I probably already do. but
Yeah, because
it's
I don't
fine.
think that's many that does it like this. And then your first prediction. Third prediction. Yes.
Kubica beats Russell.
Explain
It's happened
again.
in 1 out of 10 races.
Oh yeah, that's right. 1 out of 10 races. So there's potentially 1 out of 10 chance.
And I think that, I mean, yeah, if Russell crashes out, then Kubica is of course going to beat him.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then of course, I don't think he should get as many points. But if he beats him, they both finish the race. Then that's where the points should be a little higher.
Yeah, because we had the viewers predict that Kubica was going to be beating Russell for France, and they did, and we awarded that 18 points, because, I mean, it's Williams, so they don't really matter in F1. I mean, they matter, because Williams is an historic team, but, you know, like, they have no chance. I mean, also, can we just talk about the F1 games not knowing how to, like, they're fucking 5th fastest at the moment in my career mode, which is ridiculous, but, you know.
In my F1 2019 career mode, which I have not stopped. Do not fear. I'm just a little slow. But yeah, I was fighting for like 14th, 15th, I believe, together with my teammate. And that's the first race of the season of Williams. That should not be happening.
Yeah, it's true.
I should be dead last together with him.
There's coming a nice patch though, which I reckon you go watch some videos on, because it's a nice patch. That's gonna come. We also have Kevin and Jack. We don't have their predictions yet, but I've said to them they can come up predictions before FP1 starts, and then we might have those for the next time. Then we have viewers' predictions. Thomas Hill coming in with 3 predictions, saying Charles Leclerc's first win, which is interesting. How would we like that to happen?
I would love to see it, but it would really just be like Salt Bay in the wound of Sebastian Vettel.
Yeah, you don't say so. It is interesting, because Hockenheim is like, it is Vettel's home track. You know, it has a long straight. It has it has a couple of long straights, a couple of fast corners where Ferrari will be dominating. But we've seen that Mercedes is very, very good at like getting the car braked down to speed, turning it in, and getting the traction down as fast as possible. Which, you know, that'll be good through like turn 2, 3 onto the straight, down at the hairpin, and down at, I don't remember what it's called, but you know, the hairpin in sector 3.
The big hairpin.
Yeah, and then the last corner. So it's gonna be an interesting one. And then you have Red Bull, who we also know about Honda. Like, I think Hockenheim. I'm looking forward to Hockenheim, because you know there's good overtaking opportunities into turn 6 as well.
Yeah, and I'm of course gonna miss it, so
you can watch it back though.
yeah, when I'm back, like a few weeks after, I will just avoid knowing anything about it,
F1
and then
TV
watch it
Pro.
on. Well, I'm not gonna pay for the Pro, so I'm just gonna watch the replay of the race on F1 TV.
It's fair. Then the viewer says another Vettel mistake, which I believe is just the same prediction as yours.
Yeah.
So it'll be like a position, one that caused position, so it'll be awarded the same points if that happens. And then number 3, Stroll gets into Q2 for the first time in 15 races.
Here's the thing about that one. The
Yes.
thing is, I've heard a lot of people say this, like, oh, he's not been in Q2 for so long. Wasn't he 14th or 15th in qualifying in Canada? I'm pretty sure he went to Q2 in Canada.
I don't know. We can check on that. But that's an interesting one, because you know it's Stroll. I'll just check on it. You know, in my opinion, Stroll's a very hateable one. But Q2, like, Stroll is also those, like, Racing Point, you know, in the constructors, they are, they have 19 points. They are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th place. Can we also just take a moment to mention Haas? How disappointing is that? That's also what you call it, Salt Bay in the wounds? Is that what you call it? Like,
Yeah.
like
Good old Salt Bay.
yeah, like enough hasn't happened with what's it called? All that jazz, you know, Rich Energy.
Yeah.
They just
Oh, yeah.
crashed both out of the car, both races.
Do you believe in rich energy? Do you believe it exists?
Who knows at this time? Who knows in this time?
Because a lot of people say that, oh, it's just a fake company created by Red Bull, and the cans
No, that like
the
why
cans, the
like
drink doesn't exist.
or else they wouldn't.
Like,
I don't believe they would sponsor an F1 team if that was the case. Like I don't like.
But then again, if it's Red Bull undercover,
Yeah, I mean, I
they
don't
secretly
think
have
Red
a
Bull.
third team.
I mean, Red Bull is very fun and playful, like, you know. But I don't think that they would pay millions of dollars to get a fake company they made onto some other competitor's car. Like, I don't think that's it. Also, Stroll finished 18th in qualifying in Australia, in Canada. So.
Oh, okay.
So that's an
But he
interesting.
had an amazing race in Canada.
That's true. But you know, qualifying is not equal to race. Which that'll be interesting to see where Stroll is. Force India's known to have good straight line speed, but you know, I don't actually know about their like traction and stuff. But I hope we'll have such a good race again, because what a fucking race it was at Silverstone. I was like all the way through just sitting like I actually didn't turn on my phone for a 1 second. In that race.
I did, being completely honest, but that was to go on Twitter and do internet based reactions.
Okay, yeah, I did as well. But
And
that was
also,
supposed
I
to
left
be-
the room because my favorite football team was playing a football game at the same time as the race was going on.
But yeah, like it was a fucking dramatic race, and
Yeah.
like I honestly didn't know where anyone else other than the top 6 finished after the race, because we didn't see anything else than the top 6. Like I don't know if they like we'll never know if they was battling other places than the
No.
top 6.
What happened to Perez? Perez was behind Russell, I believe.
Yeah, oh, he got front wing damage from one of the Renaults. Under the
Oh, yeah.
safety car restart. We saw that as well, but you know, like there was just so much focus on the top 6, which, like, you know, that has been a lot in the talks. Also, we haven't discussed Austria and France. Also, one thing I want to say about France is, on the final lap we had a 4-way battle for P something, I don't remember, and then they decided to switch over.
Two.
P what?
It was P2.
No, a 4-way
Leclerc,
battle
Bottas.
in the midfield.
Oh, the forward battle.
Yeah,
That was
in the
Ricardo
midfield.
getting the penalty and shit.
Yeah, you know, like they didn't show that because it was fucking Bottas. Like Leclerc was right behind Bottas, and he didn't overtake or anything, which I got pissed off at that point. And then of course we had Austria, which was a very interesting race as well. We will try to be back with some other fucking podcast, you know, over like when the next race is here. Andreas won't be here, so we'll see about the other guys. If if it's only me doing the podcast, there won't be anything, because you know.
Yeah.
That
would be funky.
Doing a fucking quiz with myself, that would be interesting. But you know, over the next week, in the weekend, remember to join us for 24 hours of Spa. Me and Andreas.
When?
In the weekend.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm in the
interesting.
car.
Nice. Anyways, guys, me and Andreas are gonna be tuning out of this right now. Andreas, can you say goodbye now?
Goodbye, everyone.
Right. Remember to like and subscribe, everyone. I really hope you enjoyed this this podcast, episode 8 of them. We of course missed a couple of races, but I hope that's fine. We don't know if we'll be back for Hockenheim, but we know we'll be back sometime later on this season. I really hope you enjoyed. Remember to like and subscribe and all that shit. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye, guys.
My weakness comes and goes. I give in to the lesser fight. My body aches to be satisfied.